Hi everyone, today I wanted to showcase my Gamecubes. Okay. This one is the Platinum Silver. I've had this one since I was little. It's got the CD tray still inside of it, and everything about this GameCube is original. Let me just turn this around and show you the HDMI video adapter. I have one of these, and depending on which system I'm using is which one I'll plug it into. This plugs right into the component video out with the HDMI port on the left. It also has a Wii video out with an audio jack and a digital audio out. So it's an analog audio out right here, and this, to me, I believe this is the Wii component out, and this side is just HDMI. There's nothing else on this GameCube changed, but my black one has more modifications, so let's get a close-up of that. Alright, this is my black GameCube. Okay. Let me show you under the hood. It's a little dusty. In here I got my SD card. This is the optical disk drive emulator. I've only got a 32 gigabyte SD card in there right now. Let me tilt up so I can show you. This is what we're working with. This is not going to fit all the games, but I don't have all of the games on here, and not all of the games that I have actually work. So, for example, my Resident Evil digital version on here does not actually work properly. Whenever I run the game, I can't get into the game from the menu. I can't actually create a new game. The only way to get into the game is to load a save. So, to load into the Resident Evil 4 ISO is to load a save. And that doesn't always work because sometimes it still crashes, so not all of the games work like this. Some games do have their issues. I'm not sure if that's from the game having a scratch on the disc whenever they transferred it to digital. And let me show you something else. I'm gonna insert the SD card back into the optical drive emulator. On the top of the optical drive emulator is a 3D printed cover. So with the SD card back in, the plastic around it is the 3D printed part. Let me flip her over. I've got this is the ultimate GameCube, right? So whenever you take the HDMI adapter and you plug it into this one, you have everything available. I've got the Game Boy player on the bottom, and this works wonderfully with the optical drive emulator because, let me show you this little secret, okay? Game Boy player. I have the Game Boy EverDrive. Check that out. So, on Amazon, whenever I was setting up my modded Gamecube, I found a 2-pack of micro SD cards that were SanDisk 64 gig, and that worked perfectly for this. I have one of them in the Game Boy Advanced EverDrive. You need the Game Boy Advanced EverDrive. With the Game Boy Advanced EverDrive, you can play all the Game Boy games. It doesn't matter what Game Boy they're from. You can just download them. So if you have the digital copy of your Game Boy games, you can play all of them on here. It's wonderful. And I'm not going to take it off, but right underneath the Game Boy player, I have another micro SD card, right? That is plugged into the SATA port. And that's basically used for saving all the data that the homebrew software uses. So you use Swiss, and that's just to launch all of your Gamecube software. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay. I'm just gonna run Swiss really quick. So I'm gonna show you exactly how I do it. Okay? So the Platinum Gamecube is the one that has the disk drive. That's why I have two. What I do is I take out the mod and my power, and I just put this aside and plug everything into this one. This is really awesome. I think everybody with the Gamecube should do this. TV on. Make sure it's on the HDMI. Starts up just like a regular Gamecube. Boom, right into Swiss. So you see I've got a bunch of files in here. I was trying to test Resident Evil, some of my Gamecube games. I have the Game Boy interface, Kirby, and right here this is the Super Nintendo emulator. This is the Gamecube version. So if I'm bored, right, and I want to run Super Mario Kart on Gamecube, it boots up no problem. I think this is really awesome. 2-player works great, and you can get adapters to run Super Nintendo controllers on your Gamecube, which I actually have one of those. I might show that off another time. But I think you guys understand, and this works wonderfully. In order to capture the